It was a cold winter night. The streets were empty, and the snow kept falling from the dark sky. The wind was strong, and every step felt harder to take. A 16-year-old boy named Ryan was walking home after his evening shift at the small cafe where he worked part-time. His hands were in his pockets, and his nose was red from the cold. Ryan lived in a quiet neighborhood, and his house was still 15 minutes away. But he knew a shortcut through the park. Even though it was dark, he decided to take it. The park looked almost magical in the snow. Trees were covered in white, and the benches looked like frozen statues. As he walked past the third bench, he suddenly stopped. He heard something. At first, he thought it was the wind. But then, he heard it again. A soft sound, like someone was crying. Ryan looked around. The park was silent. But the sound came again, this time clearer. A small, weak cry. He turned and looked behind the bench. His heart dropped. There, curled up in a thin blanket, was a little child. A girl. She looked no more than 3 years old. Her cheeks were red, her lips were shaking, and her hands were nearly frozen. Ryan dropped to his knees. "Oh no. Hey, are you okay?" he said softly. The child didn't speak. She just looked at him with big, scared eyes. Ryan quickly took off his jacket and wrapped it around her. "Who left you here?" he asked, looking around. But the park was empty. Then he noticed something. Inside the folds of the blanket was a small piece of paper, a note. Ryan opened it. His hands were shaking, not just from the cold, but from fear. The note said, "Her name is Emily. I'm sorry. I have no choice. Please protect her. She's not safe with me." Ryan couldn't believe it. Who would leave a baby in this freezing weather? And what did the note mean by not safe? His mind was racing. Should he call the police? Should he shout for help? But something didn't feel right. What if this was a trap? What if someone was watching? He looked around again. Trees, snow, silence. But still, he felt like someone was hiding. Ryan picked up the child carefully. She was ice cold. "I'm gonna take you somewhere warm, okay?" he whispered. The little girl, Emily, rested her head on his shoulder. She was too tired to cry anymore. As Ryan carried her through the snow, his heart beat faster. He had so many questions. Who was this child? Why was she left here? And what kind of danger was she in? When he reached his street, he made sure no one saw him. He slipped into the back door of his house, careful not to wake his mother. He took Emily to his small attic room. It was cold there too, but at least there were blankets and a heater. He turned it on full and wrapped Emily in thick covers. He gave her warm milk from the kitchen and watched her slowly fall asleep. As he sat beside her, watching her sleep, he held the note again. The words kept echoing in his mind. "Please protect her. She's not safe with me." That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. Not just because of the cold, but because deep inside he knew this was just the beginning. Something was very wrong. And whoever left Emily out there wouldn't stop looking for her. The next morning, Ryan woke up early. He looked over at the little girl still sleeping under the blankets. Her small hands were finally warm, and her face looked peaceful now. But Ryan's heart was still heavy. He quietly went downstairs to the kitchen. His mom was making breakfast. "You're up early," she said. "Yeah," Ryan replied, trying to act normal. "Just had a weird dream." He didn't want to tell her about Emily. Not yet. He didn't even understand the full story himself. Back in his room, Emily woke up. She looked around, scared. Ryan knelt beside her and smiled gently. "You're safe now. My name's Ryan. What's your name?" She whispered, "Emily." Her voice was soft, almost broken. "Do you know where your mommy is?" he asked gently. Emily shook her head. Tears filled her eyes. Ryan handed her a small toy from his shelf. "It's okay. You don't have to be scared." He handed her the note again and read it to himself for the 5th time. Her name is Emily. I'm sorry. I have no choice. Please protect her. She's not safe with me. What did it mean? Why would a parent say something like that? Ryan made a quick plan. First, he had to know who Emily was. Maybe she was reported missing. Maybe the police were already looking for her. He went to his computer and started searching. Missing girl. Emily, around 3 years old, blonde hair. There were many results. Too many. But one caught his attention. A photo of a child. She looked just like Emily. The article said, 3-year-old Emily Carter missing. Mother claims she was taken by ex-boyfriend. Ryan froze. The article was from 3 months ago. The mother's name was Monica Carter. She had told police that her daughter had been taken by the child's father during a heated argument, but he had never returned. Ryan's mind spun. So Emily was missing for 3 months. Who had her all this time? Was it the father? And why would he leave her in a park? Freezing. Unless he wasn't the one who left her. Ryan looked at the note again. It wasn't signed. What if someone else was trying to protect Emily? Suddenly, Emily tugged at his sleeve. I'm hungry, she whispered. He quickly brought her toast and jam. As she ate slowly, Ryan asked, Do you remember anything? Where you were before? Emily looked down. Then she quietly said something Ryan didn't expect. There were bars on the window. Ryan blinked. Bars. Like a cage. Emily nodded. There was a big man. He yelled a lot. And a woman. She said not to cry. Ryan's heart broke. Who had been keeping her? Why didn't the police find her? And what danger was she still in? He knew one thing. He couldn't keep her hidden forever. But he also didn't trust giving her to just anyone. He needed help. But who? Just then, his phone buzzed. It was a message from his best friend, Liam. You skipping work today? Boss is asking. Ryan sighed. He had forgotten all about work. He quickly replied, Can't make it. Family emergency. Then he looked at Emily. He knew she was no random child. Someone wanted her to disappear. And someone else, maybe her mom, had tried to save her. But who could he trust? He decided to go to someone who might help. Quietly. His old neighbor, Mrs. Dalton, used to be a nurse. She was kind, and she always said Ryan had a good heart. Maybe she could check on Emily without asking too many questions. He wrapped Emily in warm clothes again and carried her outside quietly through the back. But as he walked down the street, something caught his eye. A black car, parked down the block. The engine was running, and a man inside, wearing sunglasses, was watching them. Ryan's heartbeat quickened. He turned down another street, walking faster. He didn't look back. But deep inside, he knew Emily had not been left alone by accident. Someone was still looking for her. And now, they had seen him too. Ryan walked faster. His arms held Emily close, and he could feel her tiny hands gripping his jacket tightly. The cold wind hit his face, but something else made him shiver. That black car. That man in sunglasses. Ryan didn't know who he was, but his gut told him something was wrong. He turned down another street, making sure to glance over his shoulder. The car was still there, but now it had pulled away slowly, like it was following. Hold on, Emily, he whispered. We'll be safe soon. He finally reached an old house on the corner. It was small but warm, with flowers painted on the windows. Ryan knocked twice. A few seconds later, the door opened. It was Mrs. Dalton, a kind lady in her late 60s. She wore a wool sweater and had silver hair tied in a bun. Ryan, she said, surprised. It's early. What's going on? I need your help, Ryan said quietly. It's important, and it has to stay secret. She looked at Emily, who was hiding her face in Ryan's coat. Mrs. Dalton didn't ask too many questions. She gently opened the door wider. Come in. Inside, the house smelled like cinnamon and old books. It was warm and safe. Ryan sat Emily on the couch and explained everything, from finding her in the park, to the note, to the article he read online. Mrs. Dalton listened carefully. She didn't interrupt, only nodded slowly. "She's scared," Ryan said. "She remembers bars on the window. A man. A woman. She was being held somewhere." Mrs. Dalton looked at Emily with kind eyes. "Sweetheart, do you want to tell me anything?" Emily hesitated, then nodded. There were dogs, loud ones, and the man had a big red mark on his hand. Mrs. Dalton's eyes narrowed slightly. "That's helpful," she said softly. Then she took Ryan aside into the kitchen. "You know what this sounds like," she whispered. "She might have been kept in a bad place, maybe even sold." Ryan's heart sank. Sold. Like human trafficking. Mrs. Dalton nodded. "It happens more than people know. Sometimes people take children and keep them hidden. If someone tried to escape with her and left that note, they were trying to save her." Ryan felt sick. "But the man in the card," he said. "I think he's watching us." Mrs. Dalton looked out her window. "Stay here. I'll make a few calls. Quiet ones." As she picked up the phone, Ryan sat beside Emily again. She was holding a picture frame, a photo of Mrs. Dalton's family. "Is this your mommy?" Emily asked softly. "No, sweetie. That's my daughter. But you're safe here, okay?" Emily nodded. But Ryan couldn't relax. A knock came at the door. Mrs. Dalton froze. "That was fast," she whispered. She peeked through the curtain. It wasn't the police. It was a tall woman, dressed in dark clothes, standing with a small black purse and a worried face. Ryan opened the door just a little. The woman looked straight at him. "I need to talk to you," she said. "Please, I'm Emily's mother." Ryan's eyes widened. Emily's mother. How did she know where they were? "Prove it," Ryan said firmly. The woman opened her purse and showed him an ID. Monica Carter. The same name from the news article. Then she pulled out a photo. It was a baby. Emily, with Monica, smiling. Tears filled her eyes. "I've been looking for her for 3 months. Please, let me see her." Ryan stepped back, unsure. Mrs. Dalton looked at him. She might be telling the truth. But just then, a car door slammed outside. Ryan turned his head fast. The black car was back. The man in sunglasses was stepping out, this time with a second man. Monica turned pale. "Oh no," she whispered. "They followed me." Ryan grabbed Emily and ran to the back room. "Don't let them take her," Monica cried. "They're not police. They work for my ex. He wants to keep her." Mrs. Dalton locked the door fast and called the real police. But outside, footsteps were already running up the porch. Ryan held Emily tight. "We're not letting anyone take you," he whispered. Then he looked at Monica, shaking, crying, standing in front of the door like a mother ready to fight. For the first time, Ryan believed her. But the danger wasn't over. Not even close. The knocking on the door turned into loud banging. Ryan stood in the back room, heart racing, while holding Emily tightly in his arms. Monica, Emily's mother, stood frozen near the front door, her hands shaking. Mrs. Dalton was on the phone with the police. "They're trying to break in," she whispered. "Please send someone fast." Outside, the 2 strange men shouted, "Open the door. You have something that doesn't belong to you." Inside, it was pure fear. Emily clung to Ryan, her eyes full of tears. "Are they going to take me again?" she asked in a quiet voice. Ryan bent down to her level. "No, I promise. I won't let them." Monica turned to them, her eyes full of pain. "I didn't want any of this," she said. "I was trying to protect her." Ryan looked straight at her. "Tell me everything. Right now." Monica nodded, sitting down slowly as the banging continued. "I was married to a man named Jared," she began. "At first, he was charming, rich, kind. But after Emily was born, he changed. Her voice trembled as she spoke. He started locking us inside the house. He didn't want anyone to see Emily. Said she was special. He had friends, dangerous people. I think he was planning to sell her. Ryan's mouth dropped open. I tried to run once, Monica continued. He caught me. After that, I had to play smart. I pretended everything was fine. But I made a plan. She looked at Emily with deep love. One day, when Jared was gone, I left a note, wrapped Emily in a warm blanket, and placed her near the park, hoping someone kind would find her. Then I disappeared to keep them off her trail. I've been hiding ever since, watching the news, waiting for some sign. Ryan whispered, and when you saw the story online, I followed every clue, Monica said, and I found you. At that moment, they all jumped as a loud crack came from the front door. One of the men had kicked it hard. They're breaking in, Mrs. Dalton cried. Ryan ran to the back window and looked out. Blue lights. The police are here. But the two men didn't care. They forced the door open, and just as they stepped in, they were tackled by two officers who came in right behind them. It was chaos. Screaming, handcuffs, sirens, and then silence. One officer walked into the room where everyone was hiding. It's safe now, he said calmly. Emily ran into Monica's arms. Mommy. Tears streamed down both their faces as they hugged tightly. Mrs. Dalton sighed in relief. Ryan stood still, watching the scene. He felt something warm inside his chest, like the cold fear had finally melted. The officer sat down with Monica. We need your full story, but from what it looks like, you saved your daughter's life. Monica nodded, holding Emily close. She's my world. Ryan stepped forward. So, what happens now? The officer smiled gently. We'll make sure Emily is safe. And you, Ryan, might have just helped stop a child trafficking case. Ryan blinked. He had just been walking home. Now he was part of something much bigger. You did a good thing, Mrs. Dalton said, patting his shoulder. Later, as the police took Monica and Emily to a safe location, Ryan watched them leave. Emily waved at him from the back seat, her small hand pressed against the glass. Ryan smiled. He had saved a child, helped a mother, and brought light into a very dark world. But deep inside, he knew the story wasn't over yet, because Jared was still out there. Ryan thought things were over. After the police arrested the two men at Mrs. Dalton's home, and Monica was reunited with her daughter, Emily, it felt like a happy ending. But only for a short while. It had been 3 days since that night. Ryan couldn't sleep properly. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Emily's scared face. He kept wondering, what if they come back? What if this isn't over? He was right to worry. On the fourth night, Ryan got a call from Monica. Her voice was trembling again. They moved us to a safe house, she said, but someone left a note under the door last night. It said, we know where you are. Ryan sat up straight in bed. Did you tell the police? Yes, Monica whispered. They said they'll investigate, but I'm scared, Ryan. I don't know who to trust anymore. Ryan's heart raced. He had tried to return to normal life. School, friends, part-time job. But how could he go back to normal when a child's life was still in danger? That evening, Ryan went to visit them. The safe house was on the edge of town. It looked quiet from outside. A small garden, a fence, 2 police cars parked nearby. Inside, Emily was playing with crayons, but she didn't look happy. Her smile was weak. Her eyes were tired. Monica greeted Ryan with a hug. You came, she said. I had to, Ryan replied. I want to help. One of the police officers, a tall man named Detective Harris, walked over. He didn't look friendly. You're the boy who found the girl, right? He asked, raising an eyebrow. Ryan nodded. You've done enough. We don't need kids playing hero anymore. Ryan stared at him for a moment. Something about the way Harris looked at him didn't feel right. Later that night, Ryan sat with Emily while Monica made tea in the kitchen. Emily leaned closer to him and whispered, "That man scares me." Ryan frowned. "Which man?" She pointed quietly to Detective Harris through the glass door. "I've seen him before," she whispered. "He used to come to our house when Daddy had meetings." Ryan's heart dropped. Suddenly, everything made sense. The fake protection, the note under the door, the feeling Monica had that something wasn't right. Ryan stood up and walked to Monica, whispering everything Emily said. Monica froze. That officer, he worked for Jared. They had to act fast. Ryan took Monica aside. "Pack your bags. We have to leave. Now." "But where?" Ryan thought for a second. "Mrs. Dalton. She'll help." Monica nodded and quickly gathered a few things. Ryan distracted the officers by asking about security cameras, while Monica slipped out the back door with Emily. 10 minutes later, Ryan followed. They met at the edge of town. Mrs. Dalton was already waiting in her car, worried but ready. As they drove away, Emily looked back and said, "He was going to take me again. I know it." Ryan reached over and held her hand. "No one's taking you ever again," he promised. And he meant it. The safe house was no longer safe. Ryan, Monica, and little Emily now hid at Mrs. Dalton's countryside home. It was quiet, far from the city, surrounded by tall trees and a winding dirt road. No one could find them here, or at least that's what they hoped. But danger was still close. Ryan couldn't forget what Emily had told him, the way she pointed to Officer Harris, the fear in her eyes. And one name kept coming back like a shadow: Jared, Emily's father, the man Monica once trusted, the man who betrayed her and nearly ruined their lives. Now he wanted Emily back, not out of love, but to control Monica. Mrs. Dalton, sharp and clever even in her old age, had set up cameras and sensors around the house. She didn't trust anyone anymore. Ryan stayed close to Monica and Emily. He knew they had only one chance: to expose Jared. But how? One afternoon, Monica received a message on her phone. It was from an unknown number. "You can run, Monica, but she's mine. You know it." Ryan read the message and felt a chill run through his body. "He's watching us," Monica whispered. Mrs. Dalton's face turned pale. "He's bold. Too bold. That means he's close." They called the police, but Monica didn't trust them fully anymore, not after Harris. So Ryan had an idea. "We need proof," he said. "We need to bring Jared out. Make him show his real face." Monica looked scared. "You mean a trap?" Ryan nodded. "Yes, but smart and safe." Mrs. Dalton agreed. "He wants control. Let's make him think he has it." So they made a fake post on social media from Monica's old account. "Tired of hiding. Coming home tonight to take a stand. Emily belongs with me." They posted it and waited. Hours passed. The house was quiet. Emily had fallen asleep in Monica's lap. Then the motion sensor beeped. Someone was outside. Ryan looked through the camera feed. And there he was. A tall man in a black coat, cap pulled low. Jared. He moved quietly through the trees. He was alone, or so it seemed. But Ryan noticed something. An earpiece. He wasn't alone. Ryan whispered to Mrs. Dalton. She quickly turned off all lights inside the house. The cameras kept rolling silently. Monica held Emily tightly and looked at Ryan. "What now?" "Let him in," Ryan said, "but be ready." Mrs. Dalton opened the back door slowly and left it just a little ajar. Minutes later, the door creaked. Jared stepped in, thinking the house was empty or that Monica was helpless. He walked into the living room and found Monica standing there, alone, brave. "Give her to me," Jared said coldly. "She's mine." "She's not your property," Monica replied, her voice steady. Suddenly, lights turned on. Cameras flashed. Ryan stepped out with his phone filming. Mrs. Dalton held a recorder. "You just confessed," Ryan said, his voice shaking but firm. Jared turned to run. But outside, headlights flashed. Police cars. Real ones this time. Mrs. Dalton had called a trusted old friend, a retired officer, who had already suspected Jared. Jared was caught. For real. Handcuffed. Silent. Powerless. Monica cried. But this time, they were tears of relief. Emily ran into her arms. And Ryan, standing by the door, knew they were finally free. The night Jared was arrested felt like a heavy door had finally shut behind them. No more running. No more hiding. No more fear. For the first time in years, Monica slept without keeping one eye open. Emily curled beside her peacefully, holding her mother's hand. Ryan stayed in the next room, keeping watch just in case, but deep down, he knew the worst was over. The next morning, sunlight broke through the trees, lighting up the small countryside house. The storm had passed. Monica woke up to the smell of breakfast. Mrs. Dalton was in the kitchen humming softly. Ryan was helping her serve pancakes, eggs, and warm toast. Emily came running in with a smile, her pigtails bouncing. "Mommy, the birds are singing today." Monica smiled. She hadn't smiled like that in a long time. They all sat down at the table, like a real family, something Monica thought she would never have again. Later that day, they met with the kind officer who helped arrest Jared. He explained everything clearly. Jared was being charged with child endangerment, illegal tracking, and attempted abduction. And Officer Harris, the man who once ignored Monica's pleas, was under investigation too. Justice was finally on their side. But there was still one big decision Monica had to make. She looked at Ryan that evening, her voice soft. "You've done so much for us. You protected us when no one else would. You believed me." Ryan smiled. "You don't have to thank me. I just did what was right." Monica looked down for a moment, then spoke again. "Emily trusts you. She calls you her hero, and so do I." Ryan was quiet, then gently said, "You both saved me too. I was alone before you came into my life." That moment felt different, real, like something new was blooming. Weeks passed, and Monica decided to move to a new city, not to escape, but to start fresh, a place with good schools for Emily, a safe neighborhood, and maybe a little bookstore she always dreamed of opening. Ryan helped them settle in, and soon they weren't just visitors in each other's lives. They were home. Emily grew brighter every day. She no longer flinched at shadows or strange noises. She laughed more, played more, and always held Ryan's hand when they crossed the street. One evening, Emily gave Ryan a drawing. It was of the three of them, Monica, Emily, and Ryan, standing in front of a small house with a big tree. Ryan looked at it and asked, "What's this?" Emily grinned. "It's our family." His eyes filled with tears. And Monica, watching from the kitchen, knew she had made the right choice when she let Ryan into their lives. Snow gently fell outside the window, covering the town in soft white silence. Inside the little living room, the fire crackled, filling the house with warmth. On the couch sat Ryan, holding a small photo album in his lap. Emily was beside him, resting her head on his arm. Monica sat across from them, smiling gently as she sipped her tea. The photo album was filled with new memories, not of pain or fear, but of laughter, holidays, birthdays, and new beginnings. There were pictures of Emily learning to ride a bike, pictures of Ryan helping her with her school project, Monica baking cookies in the kitchen, while both of them wore silly aprons. They weren't just photos. They were proof of something beautiful, proof that broken lives could heal. Emily turned the page and pointed to one picture. "That's the day I called you Dad for the first time," she giggled. Ryan smiled and kissed her forehead. "One of the best days of my life." Monica watched them with full eyes. She never thought she'd feel safe again. Never thought she'd trust a man again. But Ryan was different. He didn't just protect them. He stayed. He listened. He cared. The memory of that cold night when he found Emily wrapped in that blanket, holding the note close to her chest, still echoed in their hearts. That night changed everything. Back then, Ryan had no idea how important that moment would be. He was just a boy walking home, cold and alone. But fate had a different plan. That one choice, to stop, to help, to care, had led him to something far greater. A family. Monica stood up and walked over to them. She sat beside Ryan and placed her hand on his. "I don't know what we would have done without you." Ryan shook his head. "You don't have to thank me. You both saved me too." There was silence for a moment, not the sad kind, but the peaceful kind. The kind of silence that means everything is finally okay. Just then, Emily jumped up. "Can I read the note again?" Monica looked at Ryan. He nodded. They had kept the note, the one that was with Emily the night she was found. It was worn out now, but they had placed it in a frame. Ryan carefully took it off the shelf and handed it to her. Emily read it aloud in her soft, sweet voice. "Please take care of her. She's a good girl. I'm sorry I can't keep her safe. I hope someone kind will find her." There was no name at the bottom. No signature. Just pain. Just a wish. Emily looked up and said, "I think my mom just wanted me to be safe." Monica pulled her into a hug. "You are safe now, baby. And loved." Ryan whispered, "And you always will be." The snow kept falling outside. But inside, there was no cold anymore. Just love. Just warmth. As they sat together, three people who once had nothing but fear and sadness, they now had everything that mattered. They weren't bound by blood, but by choice. And in that moment, they knew. A family is not always who you're born to. It's who stays when everything else falls apart. And Ryan stayed. Forever.